Well, hello there. Welcome back to Talking Shit with a Yank and a Brit. I don't know what that accent is.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's like, okay, she's doing this, and oh no, that took a turn.
Oh.
What was that? What would you say that was?
I feel like it was like Finland.
Do it again or
I
something.
don't know if I can.
Talking shit.
Hello. It was kind of Canadian, but not.
Yeah.
Hello there. Uppity-doppity-dop.
Anyway, hi.
Anyway, hi.
This is our podcast.
It's called Talking Shit with a Yank and a Brit, and you're listening to
It.
Oh.
It's called Talking Shit with a Yank and a Brit because I'm a Yank. You, Gemma, are a Brit.
Yes, I'm a Brit.
And we talk shit. We talk about shit. We deep dive into interesting, funny, political, cultural topics. And by deep, I mean very surface level. If you dive in, you might break your neck because it's so shallow. Because we really just, want to, kind of replicate what it's like for two friends just talking about their lives and things going on in their lives in the world in a way that is not a super analytical, because that's not how it works in the real world, right?
No. We want to feel like you're sitting at home with your with your friends. I can't speak.
With your friends.
With your friends, having a nice conversation.
Kind of made me think of the Princess. I think it's Princess Bride when it's marriage brings us together. Did you ever see that movie?
No.
You haven't? That is such a good movie. You need to watch it. Yeah.
Okay, I'll write it
It's
down.
old, but it's a goodie. It's one of my favorites. Yeah, and I think just based on some of the feedback we've gotten over the time we've been doing this, like people yell at their radios or their devices that they're because we are either getting something glaringly wrong or forgetting a very obvious answer or response to a thing, or people just want to contribute to our conversation, which is why we always tell you to shoot us an email at talkshittoUs@gmail.com.
Yeah, or get on the socials at TSYBpod to tell us that we're wrong. But we're organic, we're fresh, we're keeping it real. We're not going to sit here and fact check everything we say because we're normal people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how the world works, baby.
Baby. Still super windy.
Yeah, I don't know if it's getting picked up on the old microphone, but it's very windy here. We've got Storm Bert.
I love Bert, not the storm, but the name. And I can't hear anything for what it's worth.
Best name for a storm I've heard in years. So
yeah, I would agree with that.
I'm impressed.
Sounds kind of like just a gentle old man, even though clearly it's not.
It just makes me think of Bert and Ernie.
Yeah, for sure. Huh. How have you been?
Okay. Yeah, okay. Same shit, different week, to be honest. Not much has changed. Busy.
Shows, life.
Teaching, life issues. And it's been very, very cold.
How cold are we talking?
Probably not as cold as you.
It's not that cold here yet, so...
Is it not? Okay.
No, I mean, it's chilly, but it's not... I don't think it's really gotten below freezing here yet on a, consistent basis, maybe at night, but...
Yeah, we've been at, -3. It snowed in multiple parts of the UK, not here. Oh, it did actually here, a spattering of snow one day. But then randomly today it's really warm again. It's like 15 degrees now.
Oh.
So.
Yeah.
Thanks, Storm Bert. Bringing that heat.
And climate change, because I think it's 2024 is on track to be the warmest year yet.
Yay!
And it's just going to keep getting that way. Next year will be the even warmer one anyway.
Yeah, I was
going to
say, I think 2023 was like the warmest on record, and now 2024 is surpassing that. So well done.
Yep, we did it, guys.
We did it. We ruined the earth.
Maybe if we approach it that way, at least we won't be miserable as we die from climate crisis issues.
Yeah. I mean, the positive thing we've got to look at is we're all going to die, but the earth isn't. The earth will rejuvenate itself once it's got rid of the parasite that are human beings.
Correct.
And in a few thousand years, million years, whatever, we'll be back to normal.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And there might be another race of terrible humans to destroy that as well.
Even worse than ours.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a lot new for me either, since you asked.
Sorry.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But fine, same. Actually, I had kind of a busy week last week, which is good because it's been consistently kind of not busy. And like I had to leave my house like 3 times. So
damn girl.
I know.
You must be exhausted.
So tired. So tired. Yeah, there's and it's, kind of holiday season. I know you guys don't have Thanksgiving, but I do feel like...
Oh, yeah. When's that?
Next Thursday.
Yeah. Next Thursday?
Yeah, it's always the last Thursday in November.
Oh, okay.
Fair. For some reason. I think we talked about this last time.
Yeah, probably. I just... I
don't remember.
Don't recall anything we talk about. So
nope, me neither. That's also the beauty of this podcast. It's how it replicates your conversations with your
Every
friends.
year we do the same cycle of
yep.
topics. We just don't remember what we spoke about last time.
Yep. So. And it might be entirely different because we just are guessing at the facts, but that's what keeps it special.
That's what keeps it spicy.
Yep. Yeah, so Thanksgiving for us, so we'll have a couple days off, and then it's kind of into the Christmas season, and that's always supposed to be a really happy time, but it never really is for anybody.
Yeah, fair. It's always just quite busy, isn't it? I don't know about you. Because obviously my parents aren't together, so you have to see sort of both of them, and siblings as well. And then if you've got a partner, you see their some family as well, and like. Me and Alan have got the week off and we're really looking forward to it, but it's slowly just getting filled up with activities. And
yeah, I mean, I saw the group chat of the holiday plans that I won't be able to join, but
that's down to your airline crap.
Oh my God. One of the flights back was, hey, leave Gatwick to fly to Jordan, and then you can fly to Istanbul, and then you can fly to Iceland, and then Detroit, and then Minneapolis.
What?
I was like, I'll die. That's like the Oregon Trail for me. I'm going to die of dysentery on that journey.
That sounds shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't blame you. That's fine. Well, as long as you come back next year.
We'll see.
As we've discussed, it won't be my birthday because you're always busy on my birthday, but fine.
I promise I will make it for your birthday one year. It just might not be
I don't believe
coming. Well, I promise.
It'll be when we're 60.
You've got at least 2 more birthdays before we die, so.
You don't know that. I might get one over
you have at least one more after this one.
True, I'll probably make it to the next one. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Touch wood.
You're gonna. Okay. You're right about holidays being busy, and also my parents weren't together. They divorced when I was still in high school, but having to kind of balance the different, we're gonna stop here on this day and here on this day, and the way to resolve that is to have one parent pass away and then not really have a relationship with the other one, and then have your partner's parents live in a different country. That's the way to do it.
Well, you've just solved Christmas.
Yeah.
So well done.
Go ahead and start cutting those relationships off.
I do keep saying I'm just going to go away for Christmas. And then I never do because it comes around really fast. And I'm like, I haven't booked anywhere. I never has booked.
Right.
But that's the solution also. Go away.
I agree. I mean, that's what we were gonna try to do, but then it would have just been with you lot. So.
Ugh. Gross. Well, I hope you have a lovely Thanksgiving. This will come out on Thanksgiving, actually. So happy Thanksgiving to one and all in America, but nowhere else, because nowhere else celebrates that.
I'm sure everyone would be listening as they're sitting around the table having
Turkey.
white and beige foods with not a lot of flavor and the worst pie of all.
What's the worst pie?
Pumpkin.
Oh, that is the worst pie.
I
You're
mean,
so right.
it's just like like a pumpkin cheesecake I can get down with, but I always find like pumpkin pie is just not sweet enough, and it's kind of boring, and
Yeah, just have like an apple pie.
yeah,
Apple and blackberry.
that sounds good.
I don't like that either. I don't like cooked fruit, but that's a completely different
I mean, but there's
story.
like a French silk pie that's really good. That's just chocolate and like a
That
nice.
sounds good.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Mm.
Huh. Well, thank you. I'll not sure what we're doing for Thanksgiving yet, the day of, but we're gonna be probably going to see my stepmom on the day after. So
Cool.
yeah,
Well, enjoy that.
thanks.
And enjoy your pumpkin pie.
Will do. I'll send you a picture.
Please do, actually. I've never seen a pumpkin pie before.
That's what you'd think.
And I'm not going to Google it. I'm waiting for the photo.
All right. And they all look the same. I mean, sometimes people put like whipped cream on it or like, but it's just pumpkin pie crust.
So is there like pastry on top of it? Or it's just like a tart?
Yeah, I haven't
You know what I mean?
seen pumpkin pie with like the crust on the top because it would be probably the driest thing known to man then.
Might keep some moisture in.
Yeah, I guess.
Some flavor in.
Yeah. But it's more like the tart where it's like the crust and then the filling and you can kind of just see it. So.
All right. Yeah. Okay, well, I hope you get a good pie.
I think I will have an option. Maybe not just pumpkin.
You'll have a pie option. For sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm itching my arm.
Stop it.
I'm really itchy at the moment.
You don't have to take off your whole shirt to itch your arm.
No, I'm just pulling it right up. It's above the
ladies
elbow.
and gentlemen of the jury, please note that Gemma just totally disrobed to itch her tricep.
I did not. Kate's exaggerating. Okay.
All right. So that's about our kind of worlds. But speaking of the larger world, a lot of stuff has happened. I think even before we recorded last time, and I know we skipped a week, but like the stuff that's going on right now is there's almost too many things to talk about. And yet we still are kind of like, what are we going to talk about today? But one thing I wanted to hear your thoughts on was Liam Payne, right? That's his name?
That's his name, yeah. One Direction
Yeah.
boy. Man, I suppose. He's not a boy any longer.
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a shocker and really tragic. Actually felt really sad about it, even though I'm not, a One Direction fan.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, were you ever, I don't know if they have a nickname like Swifties do, but like
Directioners, I think they were called. One Directioners, something like that.
But British band. They're all from England,
British
right?
band, yeah. They were obviously hugely successful. They were bigger than the Beatles, which is
how do we measure that? Do we know that?
I think like record sales or something.
Sure.
Do you know the Mentalist thing though? One, they were put together on X Factor by Simon Cowell.
Oh, that's how it started. Okay, I didn't know that.
They came third, but then went on to be obviously a global success. And the band was only together for 5 years.
That's it? Feels like that was
it.
Huh.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
But no, I wasn't really a fan.
I think perhaps we were a little too old.
Yeah.
To enjoy that kind, because they were young when they started, right?
Exactly. We were NSYNC, Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
That kind of vibe.
Yeah.
They were next generation, I think.
And it's Like, they went on to several of them went on to have, like, Harry Styles, I think, is probably the one who had the most success, maybe segueing into a solo career, right?
Yes. I love Harry
I
so
actually
much.
like him as, like, just an artist himself, yeah.
Like, genuinely enjoy his albums.
Mhm. Watermelon Sugar.
Watermelon Sugar High.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I think it was really tragic. I think a few of them obviously struggled with like fame. Imagine being fucking, I think he was like 16 or 17 at school and then being catapulted into global fame, and not just like, B-list fame. Like, fucking everyone in the world knew who they were. So I think when they split, it was quite, well, it must have been so much to deal with being like a multi-millionaire so young, having everyone know who you are, touring the world for 5 years, and then that just stopping.
Yeah, so it looks like 2010 was when they kind of and it's bonkers to me that this is how it happened.
2010?
Yeah. So I was in law school. So full adult. They all auditioned as solo candidates
Mm-hmm.
for X Factor, and they all failed to progress in the boys
Category.
category.
Yes.
If that tells you maybe how old they were that they had. And so they failed to progress there, but put together to form a 5-piece boy band qualifying for groups, which is so interesting to me because that means none of them knew each other. They all
No.
individually are like, I'm going to be a big star solo artist, and none of them were good enough. And so then Simon Cowell slash the people at X Factor were like, I don't know, we could put these 5 together and see what happens.
Let's make a band.
Yeah. And then it says 2016 is kind of the 2010 to 2016 were their years active. Um, and their first song as a group was an acoustic version of Torn. Did you
Was
know
it?
that?
I did
Yeah, I
not
didn't
know
know that.
that.
Um,
Crazy.
and Cowell later commented that their performance convinced him that they were confident, fun, like a gang of friends, and kind of fearless as well.
Cool. I'm
Yeah.
sure Simon Cowell just saw cha-ching, cha-ching,
Yeah.
cha-ching.
Yep. But then, and yeah, like I remember being aware of them as they got famous and was kind of like, I thought we were done with boy bands, but okay. And everyone was like,
No, we're
oh,
not.
my favorite is Lewis, and my favorite's Harry, and my favorite's
Zayn.
yeah, which is very much how I think we approached one or NSYNC and Backstreet Boys when we were
Yeah.
younger, right?
We
So
all had our favourites.
yeah, and then they broke up,
They broke up. They said
and
they were going on a hiatus. So fans have been hoping they would reunite for years.
yeah, it looks like in 2020 they posted something about 10 years of One Direction and maybe doing a 10th anniversary something or other, but maybe it didn't, like they just had maybe a video.
Yeah, that's disappointing for the fans, isn't it?
Yeah. And it looks like Zayn left in 2015. Did you
He
know
left
that?
first, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I
And then
think
they're like,
he
well, this doesn't
struggled
work
with it the
anymore.
most. Had loads of anxiety and stuff.
Oh, bummer.
Do you really like one of his solo songs, actually, called Pillow Talk? It's a cracker.
I don't know if I know it. I'll have to listen to it.
Pillow Talk. We'll go hunting, honey.
Oh, maybe I have. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
like a bit of a R&B tune. But yeah, I think they're all kind of trying to do solo stuff. I don't know, like from what I read, I feel like Zayn has a bit of a successful solo career in America. Not seen much here from him, but
He
from what I
might.
read, it implied that he's quite successful. Niall's pretty successful here. Obviously, Harry, I think, is
Mm-hmm.
globally successful.
Mm-hmm.
I can't blame him. Like charisma. Ugh.
Yeah.
Um, And Louise released a couple of songs. I don't think they really did much. And I think Liam was also trying, and again, sort of wasn't that successful. Did have a successful hit with Rita Ora, though, I think.
Oh. Okay.
But that's all I can recall without doing any research.
Something about Cheryl I just saw too.
Oh yeah, he also had a relationship with Cheryl Cole, who was, funnily enough, a judge on the X Factor when One
Interesting.
Direction were together. So she was like fully adult; they were still kids. A bit of an age gap between them, and they had a relationship years later for a couple of years and had a son named Bear.
Oh, that is all very much news to me.
Oh.
Okay, so he is like it's hard to not think of them as boys still.
Kids, yeah.
Yeah. That he was full-grown man and maybe had some demons a little bit going on, right?
Yeah, so I think he's spoken about his like drug and alcohol issues before. And was like sober for a period, but it would seem that he came off the wagon again. There were reports of him being drunk and disorderly in the hotel before he died, and he was allegedly escorted back to his room, and then that's it. He wanted to go in the pool, apparently. They wouldn't let him go in the pool because he was too inebriated. So he was escorted back to his room, and then a short time later, he appears to have fallen or jumped from his balcony. And there were mentions that maybe he was trying to jump into the pool from his balcony. However, since then, obviously, the autopsy has come out, and the injuries he died from suggests that there was no effort to what's the word? Like
Defensive?
Stop. Yeah, like no defensive injuries.
Or like bracing.
Yeah. So that would indicate that he was unconscious when he fell from the balcony. And I think that in itself raises a few questions. If he was unconscious, how did he fall from the balcony?
One journalist suggested he fainted on the balcony.
I mean, it's a possibility.
It is, but also, like...
But unlikely?
I guess I would want to know how high, because there are certainly guardrails, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess unless he was stood on the edge of the balcony and then fainted. I don't know.
Okay. Did not adopt a reflexive posture to protect himself. Okay, I see what you mean. All right. Because people, I think, naturally...
You'd naturally put your arms out, but I think...
Arms up or, I don't know, curl up or something, right?
So... That's really fucking sad. I think they now have arrested 3 people. One was someone at the hotel who was like, I guess, like chaperoning him. I think they've been charged with like failure to look after someone.
Abandonment of a person followed by death.
That's it.
And supplying and facilitating the use of narcotics. So the suspects were identified as a companion of Payne, a hotel employee who provided cocaine to Payne, and a drug dealer. But they initially said, and I think they debunked this, that there was a whole slew of substances in his system, but then like the toxicology report hadn't been yet completed at that point, and they didn't disclose any details, but they did find like clonazepam and whiskey in his room, along with several other medications and energy supplements.
I saw the released pictures from his room, and it looked like he'd been smoking crack.
Was it destroyed?
What, the room?
Yeah.
Yeah. It had been trashed.
I think they had someone had called and said this person's like losing his shit in his room. So
Yeah, and I think I read that like something had happened, like he'd been dropped by his label or something like that, which may have triggered something. But I think it's really sad because he was always like the mature one of the group, and
Was he the older one?
Possibly, yeah. But he was always the level-headed one that looked after them all, and the other bandmates have said this, that he was always the sensible one. Um, and it seems just, yeah, the world of fame had corrupted him to the point which it resulted in his tragic death, basically.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
So when I first was aware of it, I think like I just happened to notice that there was trending like One Direction or something, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's weird." It was something enough to make me click on it, because if it were just One Direction and it was like they must be getting back together, I wouldn't have cared, right? Because
Yeah.
again, not a fan. But something made me click on it, and then I saw like death, and I was like, "Oh no, did Harry die?" And then it was Liam, and I was like, I don't know enough about any of the other ones, I guess. Who is this? But it looks like they were all born in 93, except for Lewis, who is the oldest and born in 91, so not that much younger than us, I suppose. And then Harry's the youngest, born in 94.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. But it is sad. I mean, anything like that is always a little bit tragic, particularly when they're that young. And we know that, like, being young and in the famous or kind of in the public eye can really impact people if they don't have good support to like kind of take care of them, and if they're maybe being taken advantage of in some way. And I don't necessarily mean like sexually or physically, but just like when you're in the industry, I think you get used because people are just out to make money. And children, particularly, or young adults, I think are the most susceptible, so it's not surprising that he and maybe some of the others do have some struggles, like mental health and substance use struggles, because I think that's just prevalent, right? Like, look at
Yeah.
Justin Bieber, and given what he might have been exposed to with Diddy,
Yeah, fucking hell.
Oofed.
There's been a few, like, like Cheryl did a post about it and said that he was let down. Sharon Osbourne said like the same thing, and that people need to be held accountable for this type of thing. So it's, potentially opening up that conversation. But I think it's difficult because there's a burden of care if they were still together and still touring and under management and in a record label. But once they're out of that, whose responsibility is it to look after them? Really, they're adults now, and I'm sure they had like individual managers and stuff, but they can't be with them all the time. So it's a difficult one to kind of put in any
blame or accountability on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he had a companion. I think his then girl, or like his current girlfriend, was like traveling with him, but I don't know where she was.
She'd gone home like the day before or a couple of days before or something, or left. I don't know if she'd gone home.
Yeah, and again, like I think if you're paying someone to like be your assistant or companion and stuff, they're gonna do what you ask them to. And if it's get me drugs and get me alcohol, they're not gonna be like, hey, maybe you shouldn't, because you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a multi-millionaire, do you know what I mean? Money can buy you whatever the fuck you want, and you're going to get it somehow.
Yeah.
I just think it's the saddest thing is that he's left behind his little boy, 7 years old.
Yep.
It's bloody awful. But there have been, I don't want to say conspiracies, but there's been talk online of, was he pushed? Was there a scuffle in the room because he was being so sort of violent and trashing the room and stuff, and did something untoward happen?
Yeah. Well, it sounds like something did, but it might not have been someone intentionally like
murdering him.
Yeah. Ooh. Oh, there's TMC got photographs of his corpse, and it's just also like gross.
Yeah, why do they do that? I guess because people will click on it, but
yeah,
I don't want to see that shit.
No, me neither. Yikes. Oh, sad. Thank you for telling me your perspective on that. I was curious. Just because they're Brits. You like music? Yeah.
Not really my bag, but no, I did feel genuinely sad. Just because it's like, oh, he's so young. And what a tragic way to die. Do you know what I mean? It's not like it was a drug overdose or something like that. He fell from a fucking balcony. I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Crazy shit.
Yep. Should we move on to something a little more uplifting?
Yes, let's.
Maybe one of those laugh so we don't cry sort of situations.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
As you recall, there are a lot of things happening over here politically that kind of makes it hard to be a woman in these trying times. But I came across a little listicle of 23 tweets by women that made me, a fellow woman, laugh so hard I almost forgot my rights are on the line. Now, that's what the author wrote, not me, but I think I could say the same, right? And then it has a little quote under it that does make me laugh because I do like Kettle chips, but Kettle chips are great because the crunch is louder than my thoughts. Need to quiet those thoughts? Kettle chips.
Kettle chips.
I like barbecue and salt and vinegar myself.
Oh. Yeah. I like the plain ones.
Plain are good too, don't get me wrong. But, you know, when you want a little spice, because also you want to burn your mouth. I don't know. And this next one is kind of regarding, again, Trump and the fact that he's now starting to appoint people to his cabinet and to lead the executive branch agencies that are in charge of all the myriad different things that impact our world, and it's not at all concerning at all. And it's basically it says Donald Trump has started appointing people to his cabinet, and it officially starts getting dark at 4 p.m. Hanging by a thread is an understatement. And then it's a little watching Trump appoint his administration, like, and then a meme of Tina Fey saying, "What's the committee to reinvade Vietnam?" I don't know if you know this, but, you know, Elon Musk and another guy, Vivek, I think is his name, I can't remember his last name, are appointed to something that the acronym spells Doge, like Dogecoin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's like the Department of Government Efficiency or something like that. Just a new agency, and it's just like, what the fuck?
What's going on?
And then, you know, Matt Gaetz, I don't know if you've heard of him, but he was a congressman who there was lots and lots of allegations about like sex trafficking and drugs and sex with minors, rape of minors. He was appointed to be attorney general, but he has since withdrew his name from that because there was, you know, there's a background check. And I think some things came out that we already probably knew, but no one really did anything about, but it maybe revealed some things. And they're like, you can't be attorney general because we're going to have to publish this report. And like, but he withdrew, or he like resigned from Congress, which is great because now he's not a congressman anymore.
Oh, good. Yeah. So some good's come out of it.
So that was kind of a fun little roller coaster ride. But when it was initially, I was like, oh, cool, Matt Gaetz, like rapist, pedophile, drug user, is going to be the Attorney General of the United States. That's amazing.
Wow. Shut the front door.
Yeah. And then Robert Kennedy Jr., who was a third-party candidate, he was the one who said, like, I have worms in my brain, and I ate a dog, and I killed a bear and left it in Central Park, and I think vaccines are bad.
Yeah, I was going to say, isn't he very anti-vax?
Yep. And maybe, like, anti-sugar. I don't know. I guess I don't know much about that. But he was appointed to the Department of Health and Human Services. So that's amazing.
Oh, God.
And South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem is appointed to the Department of Homeland Security. So that's great. this South Dakota governor who basically killed a dog because it didn't listen to her. That was like one of her big things that came out.
No.
Yeah, like in her book or something, she wrote about having a dog and trying to train it, and it was difficult to train, so she just shot it.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
And what's she doing? Homeland
Department of
Security.
Homeland Security.
Motherfucking hell.
Yep. I think she also, like, a lot of states are legalizing marijuana, right?
Yeah.
And South Dakota, I think, voted to do so, and she's just like, no, I'm not doing that. Sorry, I'm not gonna let that happen.
But they voted.
Yep.
And also, it's going to make your state a load of fucking money, idiot.
Yep.
My God, she sounds delightful.
Yeah, and just so you know, Homeland Security's mission and vision is, with honor and integrity, we will safeguard the American people, our homeland, and our values. So.
Well, her values sound like a crock of shit.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I'm angry about her killing the dog. Don't know if you can tell.
Yeah, when that came out, it was like, what the fuck? And then there was speculation that she could be Trump's running mate. This was a while ago. And it was like, well, hopefully that would make it so he wouldn't pick her. But of course, Trump doesn't give a fuck about that shit. So
no, he has no morals.
Yeah. And what else? I think there was another one too. I mean, there was talks about a congresswoman named Lauren Boebert being in charge of Department of Education, and that woman had didn't graduate high school, failed her GED 3 or 4 times.
I've heard of her. Is she the blonde one?
No, that's That's like she's her friend, but the one you're thinking of is Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is they're the same person in how they act and how stupid they are.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Lauren was the one who was caught on film at a high school play, jerking off the person she was with or something.
What?
Yeah. But a lot of the other picks, I think, are people who were a part of the development of Project 2025 too, if that tells you anything about whether or not he was planning on implementing those things.
This is awful. Trump's bad enough, but
yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Okay, another one is, if RFK bans Diet Coke, I will make January 6th look like a Girl Scout meeting. Because that's, I think, something maybe he's talked about.
Yeah, but he did this. I saw a thing where he was talking about how all Americans all eat junk food and that's why everyone's so fat, and he's going to make America healthy again. And then the next day he was on a private plane with Trump, Elon,
eating a fuck ton of McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yep. Trump's like, knock that shit off. I love me some McDonald's. It's all I eat. Yeah. I have to wear a diaper, but it's good.
It's what makes me so orange.
Yep. We laughed, but female body inspector is about to be an official cabinet position. Do you remember those shirts? Did you ever see those shirts? Oh my God. Yeah.
They're going to come in handy now.
Mm-hmm. You got one, you're automatically a part of it.
Yeah, that's what gets you into government positions.
Yep.
Did you ever own a body inspection?
Yep.
Oh, fuck.
This one really resonated with me. I feel like the day is getting away from me. I hope sitting motionless for the next 5 hours fixes it.
Yeah, can relate to that.
Another one, Meet My Alien. So this is a bloomin' onion from Outback Steakhouse, which you might not know, but Outback Steakhouse is a chain restaurant, right? It's like Applebee's and Chili's.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a bloomin' onion, which is, I haven't had it in years, so I'd probably be like, this is horrible if I had it now, but I enjoyed it back in the day when I didn't have a refined palate and there was not a lot of restaurants where I grew up. But it made me laugh because I'm thinking about, if aliens invaded and were friendly and it was kind of like, oh yeah, I'll show you around, and it's like, this is where you can order from an app and get processed cheeseburgers and fries, and this is where you can, this is where we store all our garbage.
That would be mental, wouldn't it? These are our nuclear bunkers. We should have a conversation about aliens one day, actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah, add it to our list. Hey, and
I've been watching loads of documentaries about abductions and stuff.
You'll have to fill me in because I avoid that stuff because I don't need to like add another
No, you
fear to
don't,
my
to be
life. But
fair.
I will talk about it with you.
Yeah.
But write us your experiences with UFOs if you've got any.
Yeah, let us know if you've seen it. I saw a video the other day of people in Wales, actually. A tiny little country in the UK. It's freaky as fuck. All these weird
There was
lights
something
in the sky,
else.
but below the clouds. Strange.
So I do find some of those stories fascinating, and I can't remember if it was on X/Twitter, someone talking about hearing from their father-in-law this experience in Nebraska. I'll see if I can find it for that episode because it was
Oh, yeah, do.
bonkers. I'll do like 2 more. I like this one because this is how I feel like I've had this conversation. My boyfriend's friend trying to have a civil and intellectual conversation about the election. I found it surprising and concerning that so many women voted for him. Me, after 3 vodka lemonades. It's because a lot of illiterate bitches hate themselves for being women.
Oh, God.
Okay, last one. So you know Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, right? And he's a
Yeah.
football player. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
People are saying things about Taylor ruining football. So
Right.
this tweet says Taylor ruined football. Good. I hope she ruins everything men love, and I hope she burns it all to the ground.
Yes, go Taylor.
Yeah. Yeah. I was really hoping she would be the key in the election turning out differently because I think she got like a fuck ton of people to register to vote. Particularly, she like QR codes at her concerts, and then I think when she kind of came out with her endorsement, like there was like this huge uptick in voter registration. But yeah.
Do you know? I think Taylor Swift is actually a really nice person. Everything I read about her, like she does some really fucking decent shit. I don't like her music, but
Yeah.
she does lots of just like and not public stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
She goes
she's
under the
not like
radar and gives
yeah.
like a shit ton of money to people who need it. And I can't give you any examples off the top of my head because I've forgotten them all.
Mhm.
But I read things and I'm like, you know what? I reckon she's all right.
Yeah. I feel like I've heard similar things too, and I don't know if I ever thought she was like probably a shitty person, but you do hear about like celebrities that actually are assholes in real life, and I always question those because it's like, well, what were you doing to maybe deserve that
Yeah.
response? But there are people who just genuinely do suck as people. But I think for her, she gets a bad rap for being like this scorned woman, right?
Yeah.
But I
Okay.
think she actually does try to like uplift people and be helpful and use her money and fame for good and not brag about it. You're right. So
Yeah. Talking of celebrities that aren't very nice in real life, apparently Ellen DeGeneres is moving to the UK since Trump got elected.
I mean, while I can understand that, it's also like have fun with her.
I know. Yay for us. Great.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if she's got her show is no longer being filmed or aired, but I think
Oh,
she
is it
sort of got
actually finished?
Yeah, I think if you see it on TV, it's just old ones. I don't think they're
Reruns.
making anymore, but I think she kind of got canceled because she's a bit of a tick.
Yes, I heard the rumours that were going round.
Yeah. So yeah, some fun tweets by funny women about the state of affairs. And again, if you just need a little moment to yourself and you need to quiet those thoughts, Kettle chips.
Kettle chips are really crunchy. Even more so if you pop them in the freezer.
Hey, and they're so good that way. But you're right, they have a little extra crunch.
Well, I guess that takes us to Am I the asshole?
You know we all are, baby.
Yeah.
Now it's the question of, did you have a good reason to be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Because
what were
sometimes
the
you do.
circumstances surrounding your assholishness?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why is it? Like, I don't hear from fucking anyone. Ever. As soon as we start recording, my phone is all the group chats, like people I haven't heard from for years, Facebook Messenger, I'm getting text messages. What's going on?
They have a sense. Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
guess one of the group chat. Yeah, I got one of those too. That'll be a lesson in you now starting to put do not disturb on, I guess,
I have.
because
It's not working. Don't know what's going on. This happened last time as well. Anyway.
People, we're trying to create.
I'm trying to create content. God. Okay. I don't think do not disturb stops WhatsApp.
You might just need to turn off the notifications, maybe.
Yeah. Annoying. Anyway. Am I the arsehole for telling my mum she'll never have grandkids because of how she voted?
I already had my mind made up, I think, so.
You need to hear no more.
Yep.
Okay, important info. My parents and I, in brackets only child, live in a state with very restrictive reproductive health laws. In summer of 23, I, a female, 30 years old, came off birth control because of some pretty bad side effects. My spouse, who's 33 and male, and I were always ambivalent about kids. We figured if it happened, it happened, and if not, parenthood just wasn't for us. Fast forward to the holidays of 23. While visiting my in-laws out of state, I was rushed to the ER, bleeding out internally with what turned out to be a ruptured ectopic pregnancy. Fuck's sake, can't read. I underwent emergency surgery where they stopped the bleeding, but I did lose my right fallopian tube. After this, I went back on birth control and had my doc do a full workup before my spouse and I decided next steps. The workup revealed a large benign tumour on my remaining tube, as well as significant uterine fibroids.
Yeah.
I was told that any pregnancy I had would be high risk and that carrying to term was not as likely, but also not impossible. Given the diagnosis and that my state has now caused the need for a legal team's input for providing emergency abortions in the case of a mother's health being in jeopardy, wankers,
Yeah.
I decided to move forward with the removal of my uterus and remaining tube instead of risk death a second time.
Fair enough.
The surgery occurred the day after the election, and I am recovering well physically, still working on the emotional side. My mum, who really fell down the MAGA pipeline in the last 2 years, called me a few days ago for our monthly catch-up. I had not told her, or anyone besides my best friend and spouse, about the procedure because I wanted to come to terms with my decision before having to explain it to others. Fair play. She went off on a long rant about how the new government will be great for families, and when she becomes a grandma, and that a national abortion ban would save so many lives of unborn babies. I completely lost it and screamed at her that she would never become a grandma, and it's because of how she and those like her voted. I told her I had to have everything removed so that I couldn't become pregnant and actually die this time. I hung up after that and had a breakdown. My dad, who is not MAGA, called me a few days ago to let me know that he was sorry that I had to make this decision and that he hoped I healed, but that I couldn't talk to my mum like that and needed to apologise. Personally, I don't want to apologise for what I said. I will apologise for how I said it, but I really don't think that I'm that much of an arsehole at the end of the day. So, am I the arsehole?
It's one of those things where, yeah, I think we could reflect on maybe conflict or conversations that deteriorate and escalate and recognize that we could have done things differently. But I also think that it's kind of unreasonable when the conversation, the other person kind of either says things like that are inflammatory or ignorant or offensive, and it's the reaction is understandable because I don't think it's like talking about racism, for example. If you're a person of color and you're getting, racist epithets shouted at you. Like, I don't expect you to be like, now, let's have a reasonable conversation about this,
Yeah.
And to have that surgery, even if you were kind of like pretty solid on your decision to do so because of the risks, or maybe you didn't want children, to have someone tell you, basically like you, the thing that would have maybe let you die is going to be so great. It's going to be so great that we can't do that, even though it saved your life and blah, blah, blah.
Mm.
Uh, like to have a kind of an emotional response to that is understandable. And I think that's kind of, we talked about this in the last episode, when people are saying things and believe things and feel like certain laws or rules should either be put in place or, withdrawn, because for things that actually have no impact on them
Yeah.
directly, or for, you know, because of their gender, like men who have thoughts about this, I find really upsetting, because it's like, it's not even something you have to deal with, but someone you love might have to, that they can't even fathom, oh, maybe if my daughter, my friend, my mother, my cousin, had died because they couldn't get access to this care because of, not because
Mm.
they, necessarily wanted an abortion, but because they had a, pregnancy issue
Yeah.
like that, or, a spontaneous miscarriage, which are called abortions in the medical field anyway, even if it is a miscarriage, just FYI, that's like the
Really?
medical term. Yeah, that's the medical term for it.
Wow.
Unfortunately. And because of that, I think that also gets a bad rap. People are like,
Mm.
you can't help that you're miscarrying. Um, it, I forgot where I was going with this, but basically, no, I don't think this person's an asshole. And I think it's unfortunate that her father's like, you got to apologize to your mom, because it's kind of like, sure, I could have been calmer, but I just had the surgery. I almost died.
Mm.
And basically what mom told me was, she's so glad that this national abortion ban is going to happen, because then, had I had this issue after that, I would have died. And she basically said she was glad, you
Fine with
know?
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it just makes me, oh, ugh. For those people who feel that way, like
Fuck you.
that. And once you have someone in your life that you care about, or yourself has to
Mm.
experience the really horrible things that you want other people to have to go through, because you
Yeah.
believe like something about immigration or fetuses, like I hope you have a reckoning with your words and, in your beliefs.
Yeah. This is what I can't get my head around, is the why fetuses or unborn child's life is more important than someone who's already alive.
Mhm.
Like I can't understand the reasoning with that. I can't
Mhm.
wrap my head around why that's okay for a mother to die
Mhm.
from a medical condition due to a complication with a pregnancy,
It's so hypocritical too,
killing the
because
child that hasn't even taken a breath yet. It doesn't have a
that couldn't, even if
personality.
it was born.
Exactly. Like where where's the logic in that? Where's the sense? I just can't. It's just fucking mental.
But if we were to say that bundle of cells should have the ability to have like its own health insurance, or try to give it, if we're going to say it has rights but it doesn't have the full scope of rights, it's just very hypocritical.
Mm.
And also, once it's born, no one gives a fuck about it.
Exactly. And if
So
the mum dies, then we'll just pop it into care.
mhm.
Everyone else can pay
Underfunded
for it.
systems,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just, yeah, it makes no fucking sense. To anyone listening who thinks it does, please explain to me
Yeah.
how that makes any fucking sense.
Yep.
'Cause it doesn't. You're
Yep.
idiots.
I agree. I don't know why there's this like belief that like there's people out there who just are like happy to, and at every chance they can, go get an abortion because they love killing
Yeah.
babies,
No
and
one's
that's
doing
not.
that fucking willingly.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think there's probably one woman on the planet that's happily gone to go and get an abortion and, gets pregnant on purpose for the joy of getting an
Or
abortion.
is just using it as a form of birth control.
Yeah,
That's not a
like,
thing.
no. it's madness if you think that way, quite frankly.
Yeah. Back to this person being an asshole. I feel like no, or fully justified in having that asshole response anyway. Like I said earlier, like maybe we are all assholes. The question is whether or not there's a legitimate reason to be.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you feel?
Yeah, I feel the same. Like, I don't know the tone in which it was delivered, and maybe it could have been, as you said, delivered in a nicer way, but why should it? Because ultimately, her mum is part of the problem that has caused this to happen. She wouldn't have had that surgery had these abortion ban laws not been applied in her state or in her country. So deal with the fucking consequences of your own decision, mum. Unlucky.
Yeah. What are the comments like? Similar?
Yeah. Not the arsehole. The mum broke it. She bought it. She owns the consequences.
Yeah, basically what you just said.
I'm child 3. Child 3.
I'm on child 3.
I'm child free, which I thought was by choice, but I found out my uterus had been ratchet for the last decade it spent in my body.
Sorry, that's just a really funny way to refer to it.
As someone who spent my 30s bleeding out for 10 out of every 24 days because of a fibroid, I think your long-term health is grateful for the compassionate choice you made. I don't know how to word it other than to say that I think you may have saved yourself a lot of unpleasant struggle. Being so weak as you pass out if you stand up too quickly is no way to live, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So when so many women in our era are not having babies, we're in great company. You still have the option to foster or adopt, and there are fur babies too. I'm sorry the choice was removed from your control. That's always frustrating, especially when it's our bodies. I hope you find peace and have a speedy recovery too. Not the arsehole. I would not apologise to my mum either. By the way, my mum also voted for Trump. She lives in Florida, so I keep trolling her about NOAA getting defunded. I don't know what that is.
Let me look it up.
I also asked her if she was going to bid on any national parks when they go up for sale. Highly recommend trolling of Trump parents. Reason don't work. Get your giggles or ignore entirely.
Oh, it's the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. So basically, like, you're fucked, mom. You live in Florida, and now you're not going to have hurricanes, like, alerts and shit like that. So have fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, there we have it, folks. As I said, if you did vote for Trump and have strong opinions on these laws, I genuinely would like to hear you. Let's have a debate. Let's have a conversation. Email us at talkshittous@gmail.com or at TSYBpod.
It was good talking to you.
And you.
What can people look forward to next time? Maybe.
Well, I think next time we're going to have a little chat about AI taking over the world.
And what that means for us. And then maybe embarrassing shit that people can't stop thinking about years later.
And if you've got something that you've done that's really embarrassing, again, send it in. We'll read it out. We'll keep you anonymous. But you could be on a podcast. How exciting.
Maybe I'll share some of my embarrassing shit.
I'll have a think about mine. I think mine are too embarrassing for
I feel like we've
public.
shared it all.
Yeah, we probably should.
I'll see if I can pull another one out of the nether regions of my mind.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a few more.
All right, until next time.
Until next time.
Toodaloo.
Ooh, we nearly said the same thing. How exciting.
Tittle pip.
Tittle pip.
Oh. We'll get it on the edit.
Yep, fine.
All right, I'll see you next time.
Okay, bye.
Bye.